Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 207. It is Wednesday here in Cincinnati, a little gray and cloudy. It rained last night. It's going to rain tonight. It's warm, but it's one of those days where we're all just a little sleepy around the house. Nobody really wanted to get out of bed, and Star's taking a long nap here in the room with me. It's just kind of a sleepy day. So I am going to bring a topic forward today that I have not researched or explored in the way that I've been doing this morning. And I feel like I'm going to make a disclaimer right at the beginning. This is not a physics report. This is not a scientific documentary. This is me rambling about how things are feeling to me energetically and what is possible for us right now. So the title is sliding into wormholes. And the reason this word wormhole has come forward is because I've heard it three or four different places in the last few days. And when something like that, a sort of unusual word that we don't talk about very often, comes up that much for me, I pay attention. So the first place I heard it was in the movie Interstellar. Not the first place ever, but the first place in the last little bit of time. My daughter and I have talked about wanting to watch this movie together, and I've seen it, and I've been telling her how amazing it is, and so we started watching it on Saturday, and there's a lot about wormholes, a lot about wormholes in that movie. It's very much about time and dimensions and space travel. So that was the first place, and then on Monday on Instagram, the Gene Keys, which I absolutely love, as I talk about so often here in this podcast. The Gene Keys on Instagram shared this post, so I'm going to read it to you. Gene Key 35, Adventure. It says, wormholes and miracles. The secret is adventure, and true adventure can only be based upon love. Adventure is what happens when the human spirit breaks free from the mind. Adventure is a state of being that comes from the realization of the oneness of all being. Adventure is not yet immersion in that oneness, but it is what it feels like to swim within that oneness. Oneness cannot be known mentally, even though it can be logically deduced. Oneness can only be felt when enough serotonin is produced within our bodies. To live with an open heart is to live in a perpetual state of adventure. Adventure means that there is still some fear inside of you, but you have reached a frequency that you know is high enough to outwit that fear. So that was the first little Instagram nugget. And then that same day, Cosmic Path, this beautiful woman named Stephanie, I think it's Azaria, she posted a picture, and it said, yesterday's Gemini new moon, this must have been on Tuesday, yesterday's Gemini new moon delivered us to an 8-week-long wormhole, complete with 2 eclipses that come up in July. It's a time for quantum leaping, and these next few weeks provide the perfect opportunity to prepare for them. And then in the comments, she had described to someone what a wormhole is. In her words, she says, it's a passage that can deliver you to great places that are within yourself. The best way to do this is to be open-hearted and just be yourself. So I'm reading all this, tuning into the message of Interstellar. We watched another movie last night called The Establishment, I think is what it was called. And it's also about time and portals and wormholes. So there's this theme. So of course today I start looking at all of it, and I looked up the definition of wormhole. So here's what it says in Google. Google, aka our encyclopedia system. Wormhole, a hole made by a burrowing insect larva or worm in wood, fruit, books, or etc. Or the physics definition, which is a hypothetical connection between widely separated regions of space-time. It's visualized as a tunnel that's connecting 2 points or mouths. And then they have this definition where they say folded space-time, and it offers shortcuts. So what do we do with this whole idea of wormholes, and why is it coming up, and what does it mean? I'm going to ramble for a few minutes, and we'll see what is here for us. So when I think of a definition that makes sense to me for a space-time wormhole, I like the way that they described it in Interstellar, where this guy took a piece of paper and he drew a big circle with two circles, I think, with different points on it. And he said if you were trying to get from here to here, you'd have to take this long circular route around the outside to sort of spin around to get from one end to the other end. And then he took the paper and he folded it. He bent it in half. And then it was like taking a pencil or a pen, and he poked it through the top of the top piece of paper all the way down through to the bottom piece of the paper. And he said, this is a wormhole. Instead of going all the way around the outside, following the line that's drawn on the piece of paper, you bend the paper and you stick the pen through the middle, and suddenly you've got this shortcut, this wormhole, where you bend time, you bend realities, you shift the typical understanding of how, what did they call it by Einstein, the idea of relativity, how time is relative. You bend all of that, and you have this shortcut. So when I hear Richard Rudd describing wormholes and miracles and connecting it to adventure, which is we get out of the mind and we connect to the heart. When I looked at the theme of Interstellar, which is love is actually the wormhole. Love is the shortcut. Our minds can analyze and come up with scientific data and hypotheses, and then there's this feeling of love that instantly breaks all the other barriers down. And then I read Stephanie's post, which is very much saying the same thing. You have these 2 months. This is the way I feel her describing it. You have these 2 months of the summer, from this Gemini new moon until whatever is going to happen at the end of the 2-month portal. And I don't know all the dates of the eclipses and all of that. But she's saying 2 months from now, at the end of these 8 weeks, this wormhole, this possible shortcut is going to come to a completion. And so what do you do with the 8 weeks of time that we've been given? How do you bend time? How do you fold time? How do you shift your reality so that you are accessing more love? You're accessing the most powerful energy in the universe, which is love, always. In Interstellar, they describe it as gravity first. Gravity is what holds everything together. And as the movie progresses, no, it's not gravity, it's love. It's love. So I share all of this because I can feel a pattern emerging that wants to be explored some more. So I'm exploring it for myself, and it feels fun to bring it forward for you to explore it for yourself too. If you aren't familiar with the Gene Keys, go look it up on Instagram or the website and just play with how he describes adventure and love versus fear. Go to Stephanie's website or Instagram account for the Cosmic Path and read her horoscopes. Every Monday she creates a 1-page picture image for Instagram that gives you the nugget of what you need to know for your sign for the week. And it was spot on, both for Aquarius and Gemini for me. I mean, they were absolutely so accurate and powerful, and the dates that she was naming completely match up with what I'm stepping into creating right now. 2 months from the Gemini new moon is going to be my first Gaia's Love Festival. It's a big deal for me. This is my life's work coming to this beautiful culmination. And so I have a wormhole, a little pocket of time that can be bent, that I can access the powers of the universe. I can access something much greater than what my mind can understand. So what does that look like for me? I feel like examples are helpful when we're talking about these concepts that are very mystical and physics-based, not the normal conversation in my world, because I don't live in the Big Bang Theory TV show where they talk this way all the time. I'm probably more like Penny in the show. Maybe not quite like Penny, but definitely not getting the concepts that the physics experts are going to be putting on their whiteboards. So for me, what does it mean when I think about a wormhole for the next 8 weeks? It feels like a gift, like the universe, the galaxy, the astrological system is putting in place all of these specific astrological events, lining up the planets and the moon and the stars and the eclipses and the sun and whatever astrologers get that is like another form of physics for me that I don't fully have the translation for. But the planets and all of the energies outside of Earth are lining up this perfect, not a perfect storm, this perfect possibility, this perfect opportunity to move us through growth and realization of our dreams faster than ever before. So the Gemini new moon, it's about communicating our message, right? Internally first, and then being able to share it externally. So we open this wormhole, this period of time with new moon, intentions, possibilities, a brand new slate of how to communicate, how to write our stories, how to create something we haven't created before, how to talk about something that we haven't created yet. My friend sent a beautiful post, and she said when we're creating these new worlds or new concepts or new ideas, one step, one foot is here in this reality, and the other foot is anchored in that new reality, and we're straddling both. We're talking about both. We're trying to bridge the old to the new. It feels like that for me. So we have these 8 weeks, and we open it up with the Gemini new moon energy. And then astrology is going to guide us for the next 2 months through all of these next steps. You know, what's going to shift. There's the star Aldebaran that we were talking about in the energy gym, and that is described a lot in Astromama's post. There's the star of Aldebaran, which is very much about fortune and expansion and illumination of like awesomeness. So we have that supporting us, and then we're going to make our way. There's some magic happening today, I can't remember all of it, and then there's going to be, you know, a full moon in a couple weeks, and then somewhere in here we've got solar eclipses and another new moon, another full moon. Astrology is going to walk us through the wormhole and guide us through this portal by showing us, here's what energy the planets are holding. Here's what energy is being aligned outside of Earth. Bring that into this reality. Align with that. Allow that energetic support to come here into this human body, this lifetime. And then trust how you're guided. So when I think of a wormhole, and when I looked up the descriptions this morning, my short science research project, a lot of what the scientists talk about is the fear of collapse, that a wormhole can't actually hold this bending of time. And so if we in some human form or spaceship form would try to go into a wormhole, the wormhole would collapse and we would just dissolve. When I feel what that feels like energetically in my body, it's fear-based. That's not love-based, that's fear-based. So as we navigate through this wormhole, if we are afraid it's going to collapse on us, if we are afraid that fear is going to take us over, that's what we will create. So if you picture the next 2 months as I am, and I have this big, awesome explosion of energy at the end of the 2 months, which is my festival, when I picture myself moving through the next 2 months towards this big event in my journey, I could be filled with fear the whole way that it isn't going to work, or this isn't going to happen, or this is going to be out of alignment, or blah, right? Like, I can fill my wormhole with fear. and it's going to collapse what I have the possibility to create. Or, right, we can practice every moment, every day, every time we read something, every time we feel energy moving, we can practice releasing that fear, right? Just breathing it out and focusing on love. When I focus on love and I feel the possibility of a Gaia's Love Festival, it has the word love in it. Love. Festival means party, celebration, gathering of festivities, right? Gaia, earth, love. When I focus on love and I feel what steps do I take right here today in this energy, in this step of the wormhole, what steps based from love are just going to slide me through this wormhole towards more love. It's so much easier to feel what I want to invest my time in. I want to create a space, a container that you walk into this field of energy for the festival and like your whole being lights up with love, because that's what I'm feeling and that's what I'm moving towards, and that's the pathway I'm creating. No fear, no room for fear. And so each choice that I make as I slide or step my way through this wormhole, each choice is going to be based on love, over and over, more love, expanding love, releasing the fear, not focusing on the fear, focusing on love, talking about love, creating more love. And so this bending of time, creating something that has never been thought of or created in this way before, when every choice, every step, every breath is based and connected to love, there's no way it won't happen. It's like saying the sun isn't going to shine, in the sky tomorrow somewhere on Earth. We may not see it if there's clouds, but it's shining. Like, there's no way. There's no way. It's absolutely this portal that I am creating and tuning into, and all of the astrological stuff that's happening outside of Earth is supporting every step I take. And because I'm paying attention to it and then bringing that energy here into my body, into my choices, more love gets created. So it's a lot to ponder, right? It's a lot it's a lot to sort of sit with, because merging science and mystery and truth and trust and wormholes, like, what? It's a lot to consider, and also it feels so true inside of my body. It feels so true that this summer is offering an incredible time to create magical experiences, to feel love in newer and better and more powerful ways than we ever have before. So if that's what we're focusing on, that's the wormhole that we're sliding through, and damn, it's good. It's so good. Yeah, so take some time and check out the resources that I describe in here and do some of your own investigation. Watch Interstellar, play with these ideas and then create your own interpretation. What does it mean to you when you hear the word wormhole or miracle or I don't even know what else. Festival. What do all these words mean to you? And how can you align with love, which is absolutely the powerful creative force of this universe? How do we align with love? Yeah, and if you have reflections to share, bring them over to the Soulshine Tribe. I would love to hear how it's landing with you. Yeah, happy Wednesday. Good stuff, huh? Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me in aligning with the optimal health of your mind, body, spirit in the virtual community of Viv's Energy Gym. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.